Are you ready to learn how to play chess? Welcome to another video on Better Chess Academy, your go-to destination for mastering the game of chess. In this video, we are going to learn how the pieces move, we are going to learn the coordinates and how to name the squares, and also how to set up the starting position. Let's get started. Chess is one of the most ancient games. It is played between two players, and the one player has the white pieces and the other has the black pieces. So each player has 16 pieces, and chess is played on a chessboard. White starts the game and the players move in turns till the game finishes. The winner is the player that is checkmating the opponent, and this is something that we are going to learn in a future video. Let's start with an empty board. There are 64 squares, 32 are white and 32 are black. The first thing we should learn are the coordinates. There are some letters and some numbers, as you can see. The letters are referring to vertical files. So for example, we are having the A file and the G file here. And the numbers refer to horizontal ranks. So we are having the first rank here and the fourth rank here. So what we should also learn is naming the squares. First we use the letter and then we use the number. For example, this square is the E5 square. Can you name this square? If you thought C7, you are correct. Now let's move to the movement of the pieces. We are starting off with a king. The most important piece in chess is the king, because we cannot play chess if we don't have a king. He can move in any direction but only for one square, and his value is indefinite points. We cannot say that the king has value because we cannot play without a king. Let's make some moves with a king. He can go here, here, h7 and h8. Next up we are having the rook. The rook moves in a straight line. He can go up, down, right and left for as many squares as we want. The rook's value is 5 points. Let's make some moves with the rook. The rook can go here, he can go down to g2, to b2, to b6 and a6. What the rook cannot do is jumping over other pieces. The rook cannot go to g4 because it's the king in the middle. So he cannot go here, he is going to stop on e5. Next up we are having the bishop. The bishop can move diagonally in all directions for as many squares as we want. The bishop's value is 3 points. So let's make some moves with the bishop. Go to g7, to h6, to c1, to b2 and to e5. Like the rook, the bishop cannot jump over other pieces. He cannot go to g7, neither on h2. He is going to stop on f4. In chess, we are having two bishops. The one bishop can move only in white squares or light squares, and we are calling this bishop the light squared bishop. The other bishop can move only in dark squares, so we are calling this bishop a dark squared bishop. And now let's move on to the queen. The queen is the most powerful piece. It is worth 9 points. She can move like a bishop and rook together. That means that she can move in straight or diagonal lines for as many squares as we want. Let's make some arrows with the moves for the queen. And let's make some moves. She can go to h5, to d1, to d7, a4 and g4. Like the rook and the bishop, the queen cannot jump over other pieces. She cannot go to h5, neither on h1, because it's a rook in the middle. And now let's move to the most special piece in chess. It's the knight, and the knight moves in an L-shaped pattern. He moves two squares in a straight line or sideways, and then it turns. So what we are going to do is count 1, 2 and turn. 1, 2 and turn. 1, 2 and turn. The knight is worth 3 points like the bishop. Also, what makes the knight so special is that in comparison with the other pieces, he can jump over them. So, for example, in this position we can make a move 1, 2, turn. And now let's move on to the pawn. The pawn is the smallest piece, but it shouldn't be underestimated. So, it can move only one square forward, and it's worth only 1 point. When the pawn is in its starting position, it can move one square forward or 2 steps forward. So in this position the pawn can go to d3 or to d4. And it cannot move backwards. All other pieces can move backwards, but the pawn only moves forward. What makes the pawn also special is that when it reaches the last rank, we can promote it to another piece. What you should remember is that we cannot make a king, and the pawn cannot stay a pawn. Usually we are choosing the queen since its worth is since she is the most powerful piece and it's worth 9 points. And in chess we can have multiple queens. If multiple pawns reach the last rank, we can have 2 or maybe 3 queens. Also, what we should know is that when the pawn is not promoted to a queen and it's promoted to a rook, for example, or a bishop or a knight, it is called under promotion. The pawn is the only unit that captures in a different way from which it moves. It can capture only one square diagonally. For example, in this position, this pawn can capture the other pawn on d5. And in this example, we are having two pawns, one on c4 and one on h4. The pawn on h4, can you guess which move it can make? If you chose to take on g5, you are correct. The pawns capture only one square diagonally. And this pawn on c4 cannot make any move because it is blocked by the pawn on c5. It cannot take it, and there are no other pawns or pieces that it can take. So, let's move on to something a little bit more difficult. Someone could ask why the value of the bishop is the same as the knight, 3 points each, but bishops can make more distant moves. The answer to this question is the following: that the knight can also do some things. The knight can jump over other pieces, and also the knights can move in both white and dark squares, but the bishop cannot move in both colors. And finally, we are moving on to the starting position. In order to set up the pieces correctly, we should have a white square on our right hand. Remember, white on the right. And also, the white pieces go to the first and second rank, and the black pieces go to 7th and 8th rank. We are starting off with the rooks go to the corner, then we are having the knights, then the bishops, and now we should decide where to put the king and the queen. You should remember that the queen goes on her own color. So the white queen is going to d1 and the black queen is going to d8. And then the pawns are missing. We are having the pawns on the second rank and the pawns on the 7th rank. So that was today's video. I hope you learned a lot. We learned how the pieces move, we learned the value of the pieces, and also how to set up the starting position. If you like this video, you can hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and comment what would you like to see in the future. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.